So, a massive Amazon satellite breaks or something and results in massive internet haywire issues all day? Could it be the work of a Digimon? Now, some of you may be saying, Digimon aren't real. And I will be saying, I've had to deal with this bullshit in my daily life all day today. I've been wanting to make that joke, and I'm never around anyone who knows what Digimon is, so I'm making you all be subjected to it! So, yeah, Digimon Beat Break Episode 3. This is, in my opinion, the culmination of, were we just gonna leave that comatose girl just dead forever? I'm really glad that was addressed. I'm glad that was resolved. I did have the worry that this would be the kind of show that would just kind of forget about her to move on. But no, that was the main end goal of this episode. But it was not only that, there was other stuff that I liked a lot. So we're going to get right on into it, right with where the episode starts. So the episode opens with Tomine. He wakes up to the sound of the girl character, whose name I haven't remembered yet, being like, "What the fuck, man? Your Digimon ate all the food." Very classic monster tamer type show shenanigans. But Gekomon is awesome, so it works. And it leads to a really fun little opening. I like just scenes in shows like this where characters can like hang out and just like be people. That was a big problem I had in Adventure 2020, was that no one felt like a person. And even in Ghost Game, I feel like we didn't get as much of just everyone just like being kids. But here, like, just the fact that we can have some downtime, you see everyone fishing, you see the way their personalities bounce off each other. That is really a good strength of Digimon, when the people really feel like people. And the show also highlights another strength that I wish shows like it often had more of, and that is making the slums, making the quote-unquote lesser part of town feel interesting and vibrant. Every time we see more of this world, rather it's just them fishing on a destroyed overpass, rather it's some of the kind of like little shady places they get information of this episode, rather it's Tomine's apartment complex being like half underwater, it just feels interesting. I want to know what's going on in this world. I want to know what happened, how we got here, and it just makes it more interesting. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds did a great job of making the satellite sector seem interesting, and I feel like when done correctly, it can be a great thing. Case in point, one of the big anime out right now, one other thing about it that I don't think is crazy is that where the locations are not very interesting. You've got the Sphere, where our main character from this show is from, which is a shitty douchey rich people world, next to a shitty douchey slum world, and then he goes down to regular Earth, which is just kind of a generic wasteland world. There's not really a personality or identity to the locations, but this city where our characters live has an identity to it, and it's a fun one. But yeah, no, so they just kind of hang out, they fish, it all gets screwed up when the one Digimon shoots like what looked like a bicycle tire or something, and then they gotta eat the blown up fish. That I thought was just adorable. I love the way they all just kind of bounce off each other, and the way the older guys kind of like, well, we're dealing with teenagers after all. So then they go on to get information. Obviously, our main guy wants to find out more about his brother and also does want to save the girl, which I think is important. Again, just keeping that part of it, considering it was such a big part of the first episode. They go to this like kind of bar type place where we just get more world building. I like seeing things like, how do they know about bounties? How do they know about enemy Digimon? What do they value as a good bounty? Obviously, it's money, but the way it's presented of them just looking at all these different crazy things going on in this town and being like, that's the big money maker. We're going for that one. Just such a nice sort of like way of personality for the world, as opposed to just, yep, we just got a faceless mission and let's go do it this week. I'm sure there'll be some of that, but I thought this made it a way more just fun way to convey that sense of information. So naturally, Tomine wants to go over the one Hyenamon that attacked his brother and obviously attacked the girl. The others are like, nah, let's not. There's not enough money. And of course, naturally, Tomine decides to go after him. And also you have the other ones revealing that the concern is that the girl's E-pulse has already been eaten and she's basically just a husk at this point forever. But naturally, we then find out that there's a good chance her E-pulse is being stored for later consumption because this isn't really a show where I think you're going to kill random teenage girls. But anyways, so Tomine then goes after this Digimon, where he is taken by the sunglasses dude. And just the way he like talks to our characters, the way he kind of like tells his like fortune cookie wisdom for the week, it just gave him like a sense of personality. It makes me want to know more about this guy. We see him pretty prominent in the ED since that's his car they're in. So I'm hoping this guy gets to be around more. He seems fun. But yeah, and of course, naturally, we get our lesson for the episode, which is he tells our hero that you're going to need to learn to trust your friends and your Digimon and your own instinct, which of course comes into play in a pretty bog standard way a little later, but that's not what's important. But what is important is what we also get in this sequence, where Tomine reveals just how little he trusts AI and the whatever they're called, this season's version of the Digivices. What I thought was really interesting about that scene was when we see his past, for starters, again, more world building, seeing that these kids are basically given this device from birth, which still not crazy about, but I do think they did bring up an interesting point in this scene. And that is the way this society becomes reliant on technology to basically like kind of handle a lot of the natural just taking care and raising of children. We obviously see this debate come up a lot in real world with TV and the internet's role in raising a child. So when you put it through that frame and that context, I can kind of buy into it, at least enough to get through this. And we see that he was always a very like rebellious child. He was always kind of combative. So when you have the issue of his E-pulse causes the technology to go crazy, it really indicates what made him feel isolated and what often made him feel alone. But what it's important is that the big thing always rested on him. He didn't want to eat his broccoli because he was a kid. He didn't want to follow the proper way to play the piano because screw the rules. It's always keeping the emphasis on him as a person. So his E-pulse issue is treated as secondary. This is so important because of how often series love to basically make your main character the most specialist person in the world whose only identity is whatever their power is. Cough, cough, show I mentioned before that, whose name I don't really bother to remember. But anyways, so naturally, he then goes in to try and fight the enemy Digimon, where he is of course put in a situation where he has to trust Gekomon and work with both him and his own instinct, and that then allows them to generate more E-pulse power, which allows Gekomon to beat the enemy Digimon. Kind of curious when Gekomon's going to get his Digivolution. I assume the whole thing that happened later where he went kind of into berserk mode is going to be related to that, but I am kind of glad the fact that we're kind of holding off on that. I don't always like it when Digimon seasons rush into the champion level. I kind of like when we take our time and we get to sort of see the characters have to work through situations through intelligence as opposed to just a new power-up for the week. But so yeah, they beat the enemy Digimon, and Tomine wants to murder the goddamn thing. To be fair, can you blame him that much? But yeah, he wants to murder it. It runs away. He goes after them. And right before they're about to kill it, the other guy reveals that we don't kill Digimon. Everyone views them as glitches. They're just mindless monsters to be destroyed. We believe they deserve to live. And we see how that relates to Tomine and his life and how he often felt like an outcast. He felt like he didn't belong. He felt like a glitch. Yes, it's very simple and very straightforward, but it's effective. Taking the time to make it that it relates to the main character and his personal journey, as well as how it then relates to the world and the plot of the show, I think is very strong and something that seems to often get forgotten in shows like this. So they let the enemy Digimon live, they collect the bounty, he brings the E-Pulse back to the girl, and the episode ends with him finally calling Geckomon as they set out to save his brother's E-Pulse, which is with the monkey Digimon. And that ends episode 3 of Beat Break. If you couldn't tell, I really like this a lot. They're doing a lot of good stuff, and I can't wait to see more. But what about you? In the comment section below, give me your thoughts on this episode. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you like where it's going? Do you not? Tell me all that below. And as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and join me next week for more Digimon.